Today we have a couple of tips for you to get some really sweet slow-mo. All of this and more, buckle up! Here we go on Quick Cut Tips. Hey all you indie filmmakers out there, this is Joshua Leonard with Quick Cut Tips, and here's some quick and easy editing tips for you in 10 minutes or less. And today, we talk about slow-mo. Now everyone wants to have this in their videos, right? It looks super cool, super professional, it's really honestly easy to do. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your camera settings are at 60 frames per second at least. Now you can go to 60 frames, 120 frames, 240 frames, etc, depending on what your camera can hold, but 60 frames to be the bare minimum. Now, when you do that, your shutter speed is going to be all weird and wonky as well. So you got to make sure you double what you have in your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 60 frames per second, your shutter speed needs to be at 120. And so that's the bare minimum. And now you'll notice that your camera actually gets a little darker. And to make sure that that doesn't actually happen, you're going to have to change your f-stop and your ISO as well to kind of counterbalance what you did with increasing that shutter speed, increasing that frame rate. And that's when we can go ahead and start getting that sweet slow-mo action. Ooh. Okay, so here in Premiere Pro, I got these two clips down here. One is of this wrestler right here. I shoot for a professional wrestling company called Pro. It's a lot of fun. It's a no-crowd show that started up in quarantine. So, as you can see, my cat walking behind me. So anyways, I shoot in 60 frames a second for them so we can get those really cool, impactful shots. This is for their intro. I made a little intro teaser, so I shot a bunch of the wrestlers, posing for the camera, like that. And then I got this little cool move called a shooting star press. Boom, looks awesome. In here, I'm going to show you this really quick. So for this one, I'll show you a basic example of how to slow these down. So you also want to make sure you switch your timeline settings over to 23.976 or 24 frames a second. It's pretty much the same thing. So that way, whenever we get that slow-mo going, it looks really good and smooth. So we're going back to this clip right here, to Niles Planquet. And as you see, it plays in regular form. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this little guy right here, that little FX button, right click it, and then go to time remapping and hit speed. So to make sure that you can actually see everything, you're going to grab your whatever video file you have it on, drag it up to make it real big, and now you can see these lines, and it looks like I already did it for this one too. We'll double check here. Here we go, time remapping, speed. So we're at 100%, this is the regular speed. That's how I filmed it. And so just to slow it down, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab that line. As you can see, the cursor changes whenever you go hover over it, and you're gonna drag it down to 40%. There we go. Okay, and so now, and then there you have it. Look at that. Super sweet slow-mo. The entire thing. Check it out. Here's the slow-mo action for you. Oh man, he's happy to be smelling that wine. So again, I will just go over it with you one more time. So you right click, time remapping, speed, drag out your video there to make it real big. Grab this line, you can tell when the cursor switches over, pull it down to 40%. You don't want to go any lower than 40 because then it starts looking kind of jittery and we don't want that. And then boom, sweet, sexy slow-mo, boom. So the next thing I want to show you guys is how to speed ramp. Now speed ramping is really cool because you can make things go really fast and then really slow, all in the same clip, and it looks awesome. Or you can just do regular version and then go really slow, or regular version and go really fast. So I'm going to show you that now with this next clip. Alright, so we already saw here Chandler Hopkins doing a sweet shooting star press, bam, and then cover 1, 2, 3. Now I really want to make sure that whenever he goes up in the air, we can catch that moment even slower, right? Because it looks awesome. It's a really cool technique. And then speed it back up right as he slams. We're going to do the same thing we did with before. So I'm going to right click, time remapping, speed, got it, it's on. Bring your video file up so that way you have enough room. And so I'm going to go to the part where I want it to slow down. So I want it to slow down right about there. I'm going to hit this little add keyframe right here. Click, and then I want to go to the part where I wanted to speed back up, which is going to be right there. Okay, and click. So you can see the two little guys right here. And so what we're going to do is in the middle here, we're going to grab that line that's on there. Just like before, you're going to see your cursor change, drag it down, and you're going to see everything kind of moving or it's slowing down. So I'm going to drag it down to 40%, like I said, no lower. Boom, it extends the clip. And so here he goes, he's going up, and woo, pop. Now that's really cool, right? But I want to make sure that we really get that edge of like, it's really slowed down. Obviously you can tell it's slowing down in the air, But to make sure it looks really, really cool, what I'm gonna do, and just a little finessing here, is I'm gonna take the part beforehand and I'm gonna actually make it go faster. So I'm gonna switch that up to 130 frame, or 130%. So it's 30% faster than real time. And that way it really launches. So he goes, whoop, bam. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna just make this one like 115%, or 117. So he's going up, boom. So it really emphasizes that slow-mo whenever you just kind of speed everything up a little bit beforehand whenever you're doing the speed ramp. I'm sorry, I can't speak today. And there you have it, quick and easy slow-mo and speed ramping for you to help enhance those shots and movies that you want at your leisure. You just got to make sure that in production you have your camera settings to at least 60 frames per second and 120 shutter speed, and then you can adjust your f-stop and your ISO for the exposure that you're looking for. And that's all I got for you this week on Quick Cut Tips. So be sure to hit like and subscribe, because we're going to be putting out videos every single Tuesday that have different easy, quick editing tips for you in 10 minutes or less. And if you have an editing question for me, be sure to comment below, and maybe we'll go ahead and make that into a video too, so I can get that answered for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye!